What's up, everybody? This is the red-pilled feminist dating coach. And today's video is about how I think relationships are just screwed. Long-term relationships are screwed. And how maybe embracing that fact is the key to getting happiness in your long-term relationships. So, I grew up in a time right before cell phones came out. That's when I still remember that part of my life pretty well. And dating was just different back then. It was different. It had pros and cons, but the long-term relationship was different then. And what I mean by that is, you oftentimes didn't have a huge selection of people that you could pick from to date and then settle down with. A lot of times it was the few dozen or so people who you interacted with at school or at work, and then that was about it. Like if you did some activities, that you might meet somebody out and about. But actually getting to know somebody and actually knowing anything about somebody personally, like their name, what they do for a living, what their hobbies are, what kind of things they enjoy, actually getting that information, you didn't really know that many people who you could get that kind of information from. So, the females, or the feminine nature, I should say, specifically females for heteronormative relationships, of all species are always looking for the best option. And this is a biological thing. Females of all species always want the best option because biologically they're wired to want to have the fittest male, because that ensures long-term stability and security for themselves and their offspring. Because let's face facts, females, if they do get pregnant and have offspring, they are at a disadvantage in the actual the actual environment that they find themselves in. But it's because of this disparity and the fact that females have the disadvantage of having to have the offspring for most species, that females have a natural inclination to always want to choose the fittest male. And this is carried on with us to today. At the end of the day, we are animals. We are, as far as biologically speaking, we're no different than a dog. We're no different than a cat. We are just a different species, but we are animals, and we are still driven by biological impulses. And I think this is what a lot of people undervalue and underestimate when it comes to dating in the sexual marketplace. So here's why I believe modern dating is ruined, because this inclination is now working against us as a species, especially working against women in their actual and best interest. Because here's the thing, if you've ever been in a long-term relationship, you know that there is never going to be a perfect time in your life. It's never a perfect time in your relationship. You may have highs and lows, but when you enter into a long-term relationship, the idea of a monogamous long-term relationship is the idea that you're with this person through thick and thin. But the problem comes in when the thin comes through, the hard times. Because when let's say you're an average female, let's just say you're a 3 or 4, and you are married and you're settled down in a long-term relationship with a certain guy, you think he's going to be on point at all times and be perfect at all times? No, he's going to have hard times. There might be a period of days, weeks, months where your man is just down and out. He's having a hard time. His career-wise, he's not doing well. Maybe emotionally he's not doing well. Maybe he just didn't take out the trash one particular day. He's been sitting on his ass. Well, guess what? During that same time, you may have 5, 10, 15, 20 guys messaging you. And see, guys, this is the secret that a lot of women don't want you to know, or they don't even realize the difference themselves because they're so used to it. And I think that's what it comes down to. Women are just used to this. And if you point this out to a woman, it will blow her mind. She won't know what you're talking about. But see, guys, this is important to understand. For women, when it comes to their online experiences, it's way different than us guys. If you're 3 or 4, you may be even ugly women are getting 3 to 5 messages a week or a friend request a week from random guys who they don't know. A lot of times this ends up in direct messaging. It ends in major peacocking that's happening online. Guys showing off their bows, showing off all this stuff. This is that peacocking. And women are getting this pushed in their brains, in their faces, constantly. I would argue 10 to 20 times a week for even an ugly woman is getting peacocked and messaged by random thirsty ass dudes. Now, here's the thing. As a man, if you had that same problem, if you had 3 to 5, let's just say 3 to 5 attractive women messaging you per week, wanting to take you out to places, to go take you to do things, to want to send you nude pics. How would you respond as a man? I mean, of course, would you really be able to stay in a long-term relationship? I don't think so. I don't think it's possible. I don't think you'd ever be able to maintain happiness and true long-term happiness in a long-term relationship because the temptation is just too great, right? We are sexual beings. We are sexual animals. And you have to be reasonable in what your expectations are. And the truth is, when it comes to women in the sexual marketplace, they hold all the keys to sex. And men know this, and this is why there's so many thirsty ass men out there. Now, it may be true that you may have a good girl, right? Like your girl may be a good girl. Like she may legit be straight up, like honest, be full of integrity and loyalty and commitment to you, and that may be true. But what you have to remember is everybody has weakness. Everyone has weakness. And oftentimes, what cheating boils down to is really availability. I think that more guys would cheat if they had more options to cheat. But the fact is, most of us guys know that we don't have the options like that. You know, a female could at any time message any guy in her friends list and her DMs and say, hey, I want to go out. Are you free tonight? And 9 times out of 10, she'll get instant reply back with yes. And we all know this is the truth. But it's not the same way for men. For men, we may go in and we may message 10 chicks and we may not get one message back. And we might get ghosted by all 10 for messaging them. And those girls are taking their phones and showing screenshots to their girlfriends and laughing. Oh, look at this loser, he messaged me. This is the sexual marketplace today. So what happens is in long-term relationships, women are being constantly barraged by thirsty, sometimes attractive, successful men. You don't think at one time it's going to cross your mind to step out? If you're on your A game, if you're on your F game as a man, and you're sitting and you haven't been about your mission and purpose, you've been depressed, sad, frustrated with life, you don't think your girl's going to be tempted to slide out on you to see what else she can get that might be better? All of her girlfriends are telling her, hey, leave that chump. They're all saying, just leave him. He's trash. He's trash. So all of her girlfriends are telling her all this. Her mind is telling her this. She's getting DMs from these guys. Eventually, she's going to cave. And this is why I say I feel like long-term relationships are screwed, because of the worship of the female nature online has taken the what we have to deal with as men and women in relationships, and it's magnified it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure relationships are ruined for the long term. I don't see how it's possible for a woman to ever experience long-term happiness in long-term relationship. And that's my 2 cents.